Who doesn't love Japanese culture? From anime to manga to food to innovations and achievements in technology, writing, and the arts, Japan is an innovator among innovators. But what if we took a step back and look at some of the weird stuff in Japan? Now, if you spend a significant amount of time on my channel, you know that I'm all about weirdness. And there are very few things weirder than folklore. Stories and tales that you tell people to keep them up at night. About monsters, roads that go on forever, time periods full of fantasy and magic and monsters. Folklore is a powerful thing. It drives a lot of mythology, a lot of urban legends, and a lot of just general legends and stories that we tell each other to really drive our culture forward. And Japan has no shortage of these types of stories. Today, we are going to be looking at 3 awesome, amazing, and unique things from Japanese folklore. It's time for 3 weird things from Japanese folklore, or Nihon no minwa kara mitsu no shigi no monogatari. Number 1 is the kappa. Now, when I say kappa, I'm not referring to somebody who puts a cap in you. It all started in the year 379, when travelers were going by this road in Kahashima River in the province of Kibi, and they reportedly were being harassed by this water snake. This water snake was coming out and saying, I don't want you to pass my road. You cannot pass this. I'm not a bridge troll. I'm not going to offer you a toll or something that you need to pay to get past this bridge. No, you just cannot physically get past this bridge. Also, I'm a supernatural talking water snake. So it was just terrorizing residents of this local region, and so they called upon the district warden of the province to go in and try to solve the problem. This district warden was reportedly a man with a very fierce temper. He was not a man who liked to be messed with. And so when he found out that the people of his province were being harassed by this water snake, he decided to take matters into his own hands and confront the snake. When he confronted the snake, he presented a challenge to the monster. He said, listen, snake, monster, water snake, whatever you are, you're talking, that's weird. I present a challenge to you. Now, one thing you have to know about Japan is that there's a lot of emphasis on pride in Japanese culture. We can see this in a lot of shows and pop culture from the country. A lot of characters face this sort of dilemma of, oh, I have to be prideful, I have to prove my worth, prove my strength. And there's no shortage of that when you actually go to Japan and you hear about these stories, and there's no shortage of that in the folklore and mythology of Japan. So the district warden went down and he presented these 2 calabashes, which are like these pepper cucumber type plants. And he said, listen, snake, if you cannot sink these calabashes, you have to leave. You have to leave my people alone. I never want to see you again. Stop harassing the people of my province. And so the snake said, okay, I accept your challenge. Bring it on. The district warden threw the calabashes into the water. Snake tried to sink them, failed, and then reportedly left. However, there have been sightings ever since of this mysterious snake creature, and many people speculate that this was the first sighting of a kappa. Like many descriptions of supernatural creatures in folklore, descriptions of the kappa vary wildly. According to an article by Folklore Studies, some people speculate that the kappa may be a mix between humans and monkeys. Yuki Tanaka, a researcher at the Hopkins Review, says that the kappa is a humanish entity with webbed feet, a beak, a turtle shell on its back, and a plate on the top of its head. I almost said a turtle shell on its head, but it's on its back, and a plate on top of its head. And now, kappa have been depicted in various forms of media, various anime shows, cartoons, movies, and comics. Kappa are seen as manipulative creatures, tricksters who lure people and horses into bodies of water to drown them. They basically offer you something like riches or something else that might entice you, and they say, come over here, I have this thing that looks very valuable. And then you follow them into a river or a pond or some other stream, whatever, a deep body of water, and then you drown. And then the kappa laughs going, haha, I tricked you, and then it just runs off. And that's basically the encounter with the kappa summarized. I mean, these things look crazy. How could you trust something like this? How could you trust a creature that looks like this to have anything good to offer you? Now, that's not to say we should all judge by looks, and we should say, oh, beauty takes precedence over everything. That's the type of stuff that I would advocate against. But I'm just saying, some things you look at, you're just like, I'm probably not going to follow you behind these bushes into that body of water. I'm not going to follow you into there, bro. Very little is known about the kappa's origins, about where it comes from, what actually created these creatures, who they maybe evolved from, what kind of magic created them. What is known is that they are very untrustworthy. You cannot trust them with your life. That's the whole thing, is that they're tricksters. You can't put your reliance, your faith in them. Moral of the story: if a crazy turtle man comes out of the water and offers you a bag of riches, millions of dollars, if you follow him into the local forest and into a pond. You just have to go underwater and follow him and he'll give you all of that money. Don't follow him. Don't follow any crazy turtle monkey man who comes out of the water and offers you millions and millions and millions of whatever what country you happen to be living in. That is usually never leading to anything good. And I say that because it may either be a kappa or it may be me dressed as a monkey turtle man trying to get you to go into a pond so I can, rob you. Number 2 is Abe no Seimai. During the Heian period in Japan, it was widely believed that spirits lived in Kyoto, which at the time was the capital of Japan. And many stories emerged as to what these spirits could do, the diversity and the types of spirits that lived in Kyoto, and where they came from, who they were, what kind of people they were before they became spirits. Among the many stories that exist from that time period, one in particular stands out, and it has to do with kateimi, taboo that existed that particularly affected which direction you could travel in, or couldn't travel in. See, the thing with this taboo was that a shaman would give you, and I'll talk about these shamans in a second, but they would give you an idea of you cannot travel in this direction or you'll be cursed. Bad luck will come your way if you go south that way. Where you typically travel, you may have to go that way to get to a village, but just don't go that way. Maybe take some back roads, take some other direction. You can't go north, south, east, west, northeast, southwest. You get the point. If, this is the direction that I say, you have this bad taboo. Basically, you couldn't walk or travel in this one particular direction without bad luck happening to you. And that was kateimi. How could you know which directions were dangerous? Well, like I said, someone would have to assign that to you, that meaning, that association with danger and bad luck. This was done through a divination ceremony performed by onmyoji, or yin-yang wizards, practitioners of onmyodo, or yin-yang magic. Onmyodo, or yin-yang magic, is an art that infuses multiple theories from different cultures. However, in Japan, many people know it as just cool magic that you can do cool stuff with. One of the most well-known legends who practiced onmyodo was Abe no Seimai, a legendary figure who could access a magical portal that led straight to the underworld. He used special talisman called ofura to bind spirits and summon kami to do his bidding. Some stories see him as having paper spirit friends called shikigami. They were actually more servants than friends, but I like to think of them as maybe some of them was also friends. This guy sounds really cool. He has a lot of powers that he can do really cool stuff with. He can summon portals. He has these awesome weird magic paper people servants. And he also has just stuff that it can influence spirits. He has all these different magical powers. He's kind of like Doctor Strange in Japan, except he's not confined to the pages of a comic book. Also, there is one particular difference between Abe no Seimai and Doctor Strange, and that is Abe no Seimai is actually a real person, or at least he was based on an actual person who was an actual onmyoji for various emperors in Japan. That's right, he worked for the Heian government, made calendars, and advised leaders on ways to handle the country. He also predicted astrological signs, and he had a long, healthy life, which led a lot of people to believe that he actually had magical, mystical powers. There's even a shrine for this man in Kyoto called the Seimai Shrine, and you can visit it right now. Go to Japan and visit the Seimai Shrine. This is really cool. This guy was believed to be an actual magical man who had wizard powers. People should be including his name in all of the history books. This guy probably had powers that we don't even know of. It just begs the question, if somebody like this was real and had actual mystical powers, does that mean other people have mystical powers? Does this guy have descendants? I keep saying this guy. Be respectful. Abe no Seimai. Did you have descendants? I don't think you're watching this video. And honestly, it is an interesting thing to think about. If somebody like this actually existed and actually had some sort of metaphysical powers, it is always interesting to think that things like that could actually exist, just to have a sense of imagination. But I don't care what anyone says. Magic is real. See that? Magic. That brings us to our third interesting thing from Japanese folklore. Number 3, the Kiyotaki Tunnel. Picture this. You're on your way to Kyoto. You stop in a town known for its scenic, naturey lights, the surrounding wilderness, and the people are just so nice. But then once you stay the night, they all tell you about these urban legends about the nearby tunnel where they can hear womanly screams, sounds of spirits and ghosts roaming around, strange sounds at night that have no explanation. All of these events can be attributed to one thing, the locals say, and that is the road. The haunted road that leads to the Kiyotaki Tunnel. Built sometime around the 1920s as part of the Atagayama Railway, this 500-meter tunnel is said to be home to bad omens, paranormal activity, and vengeful spirits. Locals warn of ghostly screams, a woman in white running from the tunnel and jumping on cars, dizziness, nausea, and headaches, and the length of the tunnel changing during return trips. So not coming through, but when you're coming back through the tunnel, the length of the tunnel is said to change in length and distance. It gets shorter and longer depending on what type of day you had on the other type of the tunnel. I don't know. It actually doesn't really clarify. What is known is that all of this activity has led to locals being afraid of the local area and assigning it the name of one of the most haunted places in Japan, or at the very least in Kyoto. Now, there are some critics out there who do criticize the way that locals have really been assigning this place this designation as a real haunted spot that ghosts hang out at. They say that the dizziness, the nausea, and the headaches that happen in the area could be due to bad ventilation. So there's a venting system that the government has placed around this area to make sure that it's properly ventilated, that the air is breathable in case tourists do decide to come, because despite all the rumors, you're going to get people who go there. And in fact, there are actually a couple YouTubers who have made videos going to these tunnels and vlogging it out. Maybe one day I hope to go there and make a vlog about it. I don't know. You guys can support that by supporting the channel. Support my dreams. Another explanation that critics give is in response to the length of the tunnel changing. So like I said, people who believe in these ghost stories, they say that the length of the tunnel changes when you're on a return trip. It gets shorter, it gets longer, but critics say this could be due to the slope of the tunnel, which visually looks like it is always changing because it's on a downward slope. So as you're going back in the return trip through the tunnel, it actually looks like it's getting longer because of just the way that it's physically structured. So no ghosts involved, it's just the physical construction of it. It's the way it was constructed, the way it was made. No ghosts here. I, however, am always one to believe in ghost stories, literally every single time. I'm the most gullible person in the world when it comes to believing ghosts, and I would like to believe that there are actually ghosts here, and maybe they just like messing with people. However, it is interesting to know that this railway, this tunnel, does have a history of many deaths and casualties associated with it. Whether it was through the construction process in the 1920s, there were several deaths reported of various workers who were working on this tunnel and on the construction of this tunnel. So it's believed that maybe their ghosts have haunted it. There are also stories of several accidents, and unfortunately there are many stories of people choosing to end their lives in this area. Now, whether or not any of that is actually connected to any paranormal activity in this area is either unknown or possibly not true. However, what is possibly true is that ghosts exist, and they haunt every single part of this world whether we like it or not. So we might as well accept that they're here, cut our losses, and just share this world with our crazy ectoplasm oozing friends. This video is not advocating for us accepting ghosts as our friends. I understand that many of them are actually quite terrifying, and I would never allow ghosts into my house. What was something from this video that you found incredibly interesting? And what is one piece of folklore from Japan that you think is particularly fascinating? Let me know down in the comments below. You can support Journey Through the Awesome and other content on the Quamaker YouTube channel by going to my Patreon, which I will be linking in future videos. Also subscribe and share my videos for more people to see them, so we can grow our community and grow stronger. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Stay motivated.